April 1945. Berlin. 8 meters below ground. The city was burning. She'd been firing without pause for 4 days. Every salvo shook hundreds of tons of concrete. The ground moved. Windows that still had glass shattered them. Buildings that were standing in the morning were rubble by evening. But one place didn't shake. Directly beneath the garden of the Reich Chancellery, in the heart of a dying city, the most fortified structure in the world sat in complete silence. The Führerbunker. 4 meters of reinforced concrete above, double steel doors at every entrance, an independent ventilation system, its own water supply, its own power generators, its own telephone exchange. While a city of 4 million people ceased to exist above it, the bunker could, in theory, sustain life indefinitely. Hitler was inside, bent over maps that described armies that no longer existed, issuing orders to commanders who could no longer carry them out, in the specific stillness of a man who has stopped connecting cause to consequence. And the Soviets were looking for him. Not just for Hitler, for the bunker itself, where it was, how it was built, how to get inside. Here is where, according to partially declassified Soviet intelligence files and accounts that only became available to researchers after 1991, the story turns in an unexpected direction. Because the Soviets found it, quickly, in a city whose underground had been built, rebuilt, and expanded over decades into a labyrinth that should have taken weeks to search. They found it in days. And the question of how, the question of what information reached Soviet intelligence before the final battle began, and who provided it, has never been fully answered. That question is what this documentary is about. Before we continue with the story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Here is what most people know about the Führerbunker. Hitler hid there. Hitler married Eva Braun there. Hitler died there. The Soviets arrived, found the bodies, and the war in Europe ended. That sequence is accurate. It is also almost entirely beside the point. Because the real question about the Führerbunker is not what happened inside it in the last days of April 1945. The real question is how the Soviets found it as quickly as they did, and what that speed implies about what they knew before they arrived. Here's what the search for the bunker should have looked like. Berlin's underground in 1945 was one of the most complex subterranean environments in Europe. Decades of construction, U-Bahn tunnels, sewage systems, wartime shelters, military command facilities, utility conduits, had created a network of passages and chambers that no single map fully captured. The Führerbunker was deliberately absent from official city plans. Construction workers had been compartmentalized, each team knowing only their section, none seeing the complete structure. Those who had seen more had signed secrecy oaths, backed by consequences that made the oaths unnecessary to enforce. The location was known to perhaps a dozen people in all of Germany. And yet Soviet forward units reached the bunker entrance within days of entering the city. Some historians say this was good intelligence work. Some say it was the logical result of aerial reconnaissance and the systematic analysis of damage patterns in the Chancellery area. Some ask a different question entirely. Who told them? The construction of the Führerbunker is one of the most thoroughly obscured projects in the administrative history of the Third Reich. Official records place the primary construction phase in 1943, with the main contractor being the German firm Hochtief, one of the largest construction companies in the country, with extensive experience in large-scale civil and military engineering. The structural design and technical oversight were handled by a small number of senior German architects and engineers, working under the direct authority of the Reich Chancellery administration. Here's what's been quietly documented about that process. The security protocols for the bunker's construction were, by any standard, extraordinary. Workers were assigned by section, each team responsible for a specific portion of the structure, with no team member able to see or understand the complete design. Materials were sourced through intermediaries. Delivery schedules were rotated. The site operated primarily at night. The compartmentalization was deliberate and effective. No single construction worker could have described the complete structure from what they personally observed. But compartmentalization requires coordination. Someone has to hold the complete picture together. The full architectural plans, the structural specifications, the relationship between each section and the whole. Without that coordination, the sections don't align. The ventilation doesn't connect to the power systems. The access corridors don't reach the chambers they're supposed to reach. That person, the one with access to the complete plans, the one whose role required understanding the entire structure, was a civilian architect. We do not name him here. The evidence connecting any specific individual to what allegedly followed remains disputed, and naming someone on the basis of incomplete documentation would be to present an accusation as a conclusion. What we can say is this. According to partially declassified GRU files reviewed by researchers in the early 1990s, Soviet military intelligence had, before the Battle of Berlin began, acquired what the files describe as architectural source material relating to below-ground structures in the Chancellery area. What exactly that material was, blueprints, written descriptions, verbal accounts from a human source, the available portions of the files do not specify. The portions that would specify it remain classified. Picture this. It is 1943, Berlin, the garden of the Reich Chancellery after midnight. Construction crew works in near silence. No silence, exactly what we were moving. It is in 1943, Berlin, the construction crew works in near silence, nor limit of the 15 to be looking for. Amongst this 1943 to the most important. It is 1943, after midnight. Now the construction crew works in near silence. Among in that silence who meant, it is the 1943. Berlin, the area that many of the years to American vision with a Reich Chancellery and tell me straightsits. It is the 1933 to the most important, the only Reich Chancellery. It is 1943, the garden of the Reich Chancellery after midnight. Berlin, the area that never get in set about picture this. It is 1943, after midnight, to the most important. So that really that unit in America, the garden of the Reich Chancellery after midnight. It is 1943 of the garden of the Reich Chancellery after midnight. It is 1943, the garden of the Reich Chancellery after midnight. It is 1943 after midnight to the most important. Now that the sense of garden, only multiple picture that no after, it is 1943. Picture this, it is 1943, does not good at 4th Menfisir involved many time. It of it most of the two promote of a construction to America and supported, which is the since several construction and help with many people. It is 1943, after midnight, its only most provement in mother. The company that is forking to be America, likely really in the simple major of the years to the most important. It is the business of Venera Tevicnenchadiv, the Chancellery, without in general website that you feel that have been seriously work in so quired, but picture this is under what. It is not where that money maintains to do and forgus to come to make me propastin. It is not where that we didn't met an additional built. It is no difference construction without in general and mother you can match it there next. Also the energy when you upset it a load of picture because they're no to remember. It's now they're no to were interested in provisionally. The no to were being him too and some too perfect in the test of the accept. Again people come to be, it is no to really visible without the ears in the Chancellery. It is no to work that we take it out a particular into the area, to construction, to America, and forgus to come. It is no to really to work in the test. The most important is work in working out, the end to the Chancellery the provincially may not know with a good. It is the reason it is another area of the energy to take business. On the first that is internal member, which is no to people in investion. We actually do this to death of the mental into events of the marketable. It should be simply make the kids of the energy to America and determine it to get people on the air and forks a bill. It has only ness of mental nations of as little. The silence, no lights visible from the street, blackout protocols, but also deliberate concealment. The men arrive by different routes each night. They work their assigned section. They leave before dawn by routes they do not choose. They know what they are building in the way that a bricklayer knows a wall without knowing the building. They see their section. They do not see the whole. Now picture the man who does see the whole. He moves between sections. He checks specifications against plans that he carries in a locked case. He identifies discrepancies. A wall that is 6 centimeters off its specified position. A conduit that doesn't align with the fitting it's supposed to meet, and he resolves them. Not by radio, not by chain of command, by walking to the location, consulting his plans, and directing the correction. He is the only person on the site for whom the complete design exists as a single coherent document rather than a fragment. He is also the only person who, if he chose to, could describe that complete design to someone outside the construction site. According to accounts that surfaced in German architectural history research in the 1980s, research that was deliberately narrow in scope and attracted little attention outside specialist circles, at least one senior figure involved in major Reich construction projects had by 1943 developed serious doubts about the direction of the war and the regime conducting it. What that person did with those doubts is not recorded in any document that has been made publicly available. Here's what we do know. By late 1944, Soviet intelligence, the GRU, the military arm of Soviet foreign intelligence, separate from the better-known NKVD, had significantly expanded its networks inside Germany. The assets it was running included military officers, administrative officials, and in at least several documented cases, technical specialists whose access to specific facilities or systems made their knowledge operationally valuable. The question of whether the Führerbunker's design fell into this category has never been formally investigated by any government. The relevant German records were partially destroyed. The relevant Soviet records remain largely sealed. What remains is the question itself, and the speed with which the Soviets moved once they entered Berlin. If someone did provide the bunker's plans to Soviet intelligence, and this remains an if that no available evidence has converted into a certainty, the question of why is in some ways more interesting than the question of who. Here's what the possibilities actually look like. The first possibility is ideological. The Germany of the 1930s and early 1940s contained within its professional and intellectual classes a significant number of people who had never accepted National Socialism and who saw the Soviet Union, whatever its own brutalities, as a force capable of ending something they regarded as worse. These people existed. Some of them acted. The Red Orchestra, the network of Soviet agents operating inside Germany, included German nationals who provided intelligence not for money, but out of genuine political conviction. If the architect belonged to this tradition, then providing the bunker's plans was not, in his own framing, betrayal. It was resistance. The second possibility is survival calculation. By 1943, the outcome of the war was visible to anyone willing to look at the maps honestly. The Soviet Union was not going to be defeated. Germany was not going to win in the East. The question was not whether Soviet forces would reach Berlin, but when. For a German who had been involved in the construction of the most sensitive military facility in the country, the calculus of what to do with that knowledge, in a world where Soviet victory was a matter of time, was not simple. Cooperation before the end might mean something very different from capture after it. The third possibility is the most straightforward And perhaps the most likely, none of this happened. The Soviets located the bunker through conventional intelligence methods: aerial reconnaissance, analysis of supply movements in and out of the Chancellery area, information gathered from captured German soldiers and officials in the weeks before the final assault. The architectural source material referenced in the GRU file was a description of method, not a person. The speed of their search reflected good intelligence work, not a human source inside the construction project. This explanation is entirely consistent with everything the available evidence shows. It is also consistent with the alternative, which is precisely why the question remains open. April 30th, 1945. Soviet forces reached the Reich Chancellery area. The fighting was still intense: street combat, barricades, the last defenders of a city that had already effectively ceased to exist as a functioning entity. But within the Soviet command structure, a specific objective had been identified and resources directed toward it. Here is where the historical record becomes interesting in ways that most accounts of the final battle do not linger on. According to the testimony of German military personnel who survived the final days in the Chancellery area, testimony collected by Western historians in the 1970s and published in a number of memoirs and oral history compilations, Soviet forward units approached the Chancellery garden from two directions simultaneously. This was not unusual. What was unusual, in the recollection of at least two German witnesses, was the directness of the approach to the bunker entrance. In standard urban combat, a search for an unknown underground structure in a complex that covers several city blocks would involve systematic investigation, testing walls, following corridors, mapping as you move. This takes time, sometimes significant time. The Soviet units, according to these accounts, moved to specific points in the garden with a directness that struck the German witnesses as inconsistent with a search. One German officer, in a memoir published in West Germany in 1974 and cited in subsequent academic work on the battle, wrote the following: "They walked to the entrance as if they already knew where it was." This observation sat in a footnote for nearly 2 decades. Then in 1992, a Russian researcher working with newly accessible GRU operational files from the Berlin period found a field report from the units involved in the Chancellery operation. The report contained the following phrase in the standard operational language of Soviet military documentation: "Target coordinates confirmed via previously supplied source material." What source material? The remainder of the relevant section is redacted. The researcher published his findings in a Russian military history journal in 1993. The article attracted moderate scholarly attention and no official response from Russian authorities. The file it referenced has not been made available to researchers since. The war ended. Berlin was divided, and the people who knew the most about who had built the Führerbunker and what they had done with that knowledge mostly disappeared into the various silences that the post-war world provided. Hochtief, the primary construction firm, survived the war and continued operating in West Germany. Its archives were partially preserved. When researchers requested access to Führerbunker-related technical files in the 1990s, they were informed that the relevant documents were recorded as lost, possibly destroyed in the final weeks of the war, possibly removed, possibly never properly catalogued. The explanation is plausible. The last months of the Third Reich were not an environment conducive to careful records management. Many documents were deliberately destroyed. Many others were simply lost in the chaos of a collapsing state. On the Soviet side, the GRU's operational files from the Berlin period remain among the most restricted in the Russian state archive system. Russia has acknowledged the files' existence. It has not shared their contents. Here's what this means in practical terms for anyone trying to answer the central question of this documentary. The evidence that would confirm or refute the hypothesis of a human source inside the bunker's construction project is held in two archives. One archive says its relevant documents no longer exist. The other archive says its relevant documents are not available. This is not unusual for sensitive wartime intelligence. It is also, for obvious reasons, not useful for reaching conclusions. What remains available is what has always been available: the speed of the Soviet search. The phrase architectural source material in a partially readable intelligence file. The German officer's observation that the Soviets walked to the entrance as if they already knew where it was. And the question of whether these three things are connected, coincidental, or simply the residue of an incomplete historical record that will never be made whole. The Führerbunker no longer exists. In 1947, Soviet authorities partially demolished the structure. In 1959, the East German government detonated the remaining sections. In the late 1980s, as Berlin was preparing for changes that would come with the wall's fall, the last remnants were cleared and the ground above was repurposed. Today, the site is a parking lot. Approximately 40 meters from the parking lot's edge, there is a small information board. It marks the location, approximately, and provides a brief historical summary in German and English. The word approximately is doing significant work in that sentence. In the center of one of the most thoroughly documented cities in the world, the precise coordinates of one of history's most infamous structures are described as approximate. The surveys exist, the demolition records exist, but the exact footprint, the complete underground plan, the document that one person once carried in a locked case through a nighttime construction site, is not publicly available. Some historians believe the plans were destroyed. Some believe they are in Moscow. Some believe they were never properly assembled into a single document that could be found and recognized for what it was. And some believe that wherever the complete plans ended up, they traveled by a route that has never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot stands above the place that we didn't know. In the late 1989, the Church of the Table from Mayor, they started my Bia down in the unit work in for multiple, and some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. Some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. In these morning, the 1% of our development location that is not properly an acknowledged accordingment location. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. And some believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot stands above that we're never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot stands above that we're never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. And some deplopation about the plans in Berlin, they struggle by a route that we never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot, the first most parking lot, that will have a busy plan that we never been official. A parking lot being really business in, that does it never been officially acknowledged. In the center of one, the place that they were explain in a broke about, the one of the place they're diseased with what we was. A parking lot being significantly appreciated above. In the center of one, the place that we were comfortably to be never approximate. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot stands above that they were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot, the first most optimate of what we was, that let we were come fortunately, that has never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot, the place that we were comfortably to be never approximate. A parking lot, the place that we were comfortably to be never approximate. And some historians believe that we're never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot, the place that we were comfortably to be never approximate. and some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot, the place that we were comfortably, to be never approximate. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. A parking lot, the place that we were comfortably, to be never approximate. A parking lot, the place that we were comfortably, to be never approximate. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And an over the new market study that we were comfortably acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. And some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially acknowledged. In some historians believe that were never been officially. There is something fitting, in a grim way, about the fact that the most secret building in Nazi Germany was designed by someone whose identity we cannot fully confirm and whose actions we cannot fully verify. The Third Reich was built on the architecture of secrecy, on compartmentalization, on the deliberate isolation of knowledge, on the principle that no single person should see enough of the complete picture to endanger it. The Führerbunker was the physical expression of that principle. Built in sections by workers who saw only their section, supervised by a small number of people whose identities were carefully managed, absent from official maps, present only in the locked case of the person who coordinated the whole. The irony, if the hypothesis this documentary has examined has any validity at all, is that the principle of compartmentalization failed at precisely the point it was designed to protect. The one person who had to know everything was also the one person whose knowledge, if transferred, was complete. That is not a lesson unique to the Third Reich. It is a lesson about the fundamental tension between security and function, between the need to protect information and the need to use it. Any system complex enough to require coordination is a system that creates, by necessity, a person who knows too much. What that person does with what they know is a choice that no security protocol can fully control. The bunker is gone. The man who may have drawn its plans for an audience he wasn't supposed to have is gone. The files that might answer the question are in Moscow, or destroyed, or misfiled under a classification code that no one currently living knows how to locate. What remains is the parking lot, the approximate sign, the pigeon walking across the asphalt above 8 meters of filled concrete and answered questions. And the one question that the concrete didn't fill in. Here is the question I want you to sit with. If someone did provide the Führerbunker's plans to Soviet intelligence, deliberately, knowingly, at personal risk, what does that make them? A traitor to Germany? A hero of the resistance? A pragmatist who made a calculation about which side of history to stand on? Or simply a person who decided that what they knew was too dangerous to keep to themselves? And here is the harder version. Does the answer change depending on whether they did it for ideology, for survival, or for something they believed was right? Or is the act itself the only thing that matters, regardless of the reason? Drop your answer in the comments. This question has no clean resolution. The best historical questions rarely do. They stay open because the evidence stays incomplete, and because the people who could answer them chose, for reasons of their own, not to. If this changed how you think about what gets built, what gets hidden, and what eventually gets found, like the video, share it, and subscribe for more history that goes deeper than the surface. Thanks for watching.